Welcome to Office Hours with Attorney Little. Coming to the office today is Shae Primus. Shae is the owner of Upper Echelon Matchmaking, which is a boutique matchmaking and dating coaching business for Black single professionals nationwide. Since 2013, Shae has successfully matched over 500 couples and is currently a cast member of Bravo's Love Match Atlanta. Although Shae started with middle-class matchmaker, she had to establish the luxury arm of her business, Upper Echelon, after being offered $1 million to match entertainer and entrepreneur Rick Ross. Shae has an undergraduate degree in communications from Clark Atlanta University, a graduate degree in human resources and organizational development from the University of Georgia, and has completed all of her coursework for her PhD in training and performance improvement. Shae has 20 years experience in corporate HR and training for Fortune 500 companies. In an effort to offer premium services to her matchmaking clients, Shae has earned a matchmaker certification from the Matchmaking Institute and a dating coach certification from the Relationship Coach Institute. Shae is a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She is a Georgia Peach who resides in Atlanta with her 2 children. Well, welcome to the office, Shae.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I started a candle line, and I don't know why this does this, but I want to burn one of our flagship candles for you. It's called Settlement. Settlement spelled M-I-N-T.
Oh.
And it is a minty flavor, or scent, not flavor, and it's actually a mood booster.
Nice.
So let me know what you think.
Thank you. Settlement. Okay.
So let's jump right into it.
Shall we?
How did you get started in matchmaking?
So I'm one of these girls that have always just had a big network. I've always had a big crew.
You know everybody.
I know everybody. I'm that person. So I'm a big networker. And so I started just having events. It could be a birthday party or anything, and people would always be trying to hook up at my events. Shae, hook me up with that person, hook me up with this person. And I was like, yeah, I'm a Capricorn. So I'm like, how can I monetize this? So I went and got certified as a matchmaker and certified as a dating coach, and then I launched my business. Initially, it was called Middle Class Matchmaker.
Okay.
But then after Rick Ross asked me to match him, couldn't match the boss under Middle Class Matchmaker. So I upgraded, rebranded to Upper Echelon Matchmaking. So
and the price just went up.
Everything went up. It's not the same. It's not the same. But also my business model changed too, because it's Upper Echelon. I now have a sex therapist on staff, a regular therapist, an astrologer, and a dating coach.
Wow.
So I it's not just that, and a photographer. So it's not just that, we charge more, but we offer more as well.
Gotcha. So how long have you been in matchmaking?
This October will be 10 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm very excited and very proud of that.
So has it been 10 years with middle class or 10 years with upper echelon?
Okay,
as well?
10 years matchmaking total.
Total, okay.
And 2 years upper echelon.
Gotcha. Okay. So in your 10 years of experience, what do men complain most about women?
Okay, so we're getting right into it.
We're getting into it.
Okay. Men complain about women that we have unrealistic expectations.
Okay.
And especially around salary. Because as you know, we are the most educated demographic, period. So as we get our education and we're making our check, we expect them to have the same check, and they don't always have the same check. And sometimes we can use that as a barometer. Like, well, if you don't make this, you ain't worthy of my time. You shouldn't even be talking to me. If you know how we have those mentalities, and it's like we correlate worth and value with your paycheck, and that is harmful. That's harmful, period, but definitely harmful to our brothers.
Okay.
So that unrealistic expectations. Another thing that we have an issue with is expecting them to be mind readers. We expect them to just know we like them, just know what to do. You should just know how to treat me. You should just know everything. I shouldn't have to tell you anything. And it's quite unrealistic because we're expecting them to be mind readers, and they're not. And then the other thing that that men complain about with women is that communication. We communicate with each other, but we don't communicate with them. And it goes back to expecting them to just know. But we are great communicators in general. We just don't talk to the people who we need to communicate to. I don't know why that is. But, yeah, those are the complaints that men have about women.
Okay, so now that you said that, I got to get your opinion. Do you remember when Ebony K. Williams came out about the bus driver? What are your thoughts? Is that harmful, or did she have a point?
Ebony has a point.
Ebony has a point.
Ebony has a point. And the reason I said it that way is because do I expect Ebony K. Williams, who is a big attorney and, on Griot, and do I expect her to date the bus driver? No.
Okay.
But everybody else that attached themselves to Ebony K. Williams and said, yes, girl, me too, sis. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do I expect her to date the bus driver? Probably not. But you could date the bus driver. You know what I mean? I think that we hear one person say something like, what's the Brat sister's name? She was Diamond on the Players Club. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
yes, her. She just made a comment. She was like, I don't date men who don't make what I make.
Lisa Wright.
It was gonna bother me. She was like, I don't date men who don't make what I make because, I'm used to a certain lifestyle and I'm going to travel and you're not going to be able to afford. Lisa Ray has that opinion. Keisha, you don't need that opinion. You can date, you know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes we listen to these people and we attach ourselves to them and we like, yeah, me too. But really, because when you think about it, and this is going back to unrealistic expectations, only 1% of people make six figures and above. 1%. So when you get into the six figures, now that's six figures. Now you talk about height. You want him to be 6 feet tall. You want him to make six figures. You want him to be straight.
Other expectations.
You want him to be straight. You want him to be black. Now when you start adding all of that, you're talking about 0.000.
This unicorn.
It's really a unicorn. And yes, you might know somebody who has that. You don't know what that person is doing to keep that either, right? So I think what you need to focus on is a good quality man, a man of character, a man of integrity. And y'all can build together. You can build an empire. You can start a business and life can change. But if you focus on money up front, you're going to miss out on some real good people, in your search.
So where do you think this expectation, because we're women, where do you think it comes from?
I think it comes from reality TV. It comes from, now we position celebrities in such a way. Now we look their goals. We look up to them. And I'm looking at Cardi B getting Birkins every week, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, I want that, but who can give you $100,000 purse, man? Where you gonna get that? You
we think it's attainable because proximity wise,
and it's unrealistic.
We both Atlantics.
Come on, sis. It's not. It's just not. And I think that's what we're doing. We're looking at these people, and it's like, well, she can do it. Why can't I do it?
Right.
And I think social media makes, and this is true for money, it's true for looks, it's true for all these things. We're looking at these people and it's like, oh, that's goals. I can do it too. But is that realistic for you? And I think that's what we have to get to. I mean, I'm happy for anybody who has that, but is that realistic for you, for what you want?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna get her off of us, y'all.
Okay.
So from men, what are their complaints about women?
What we complain about men is that they're inconsistent. They don't show a lot of effort. They're not good communicators either. And with men, it's an issue of transparency because you can, if you pull it out of them, they'll be honest, but they're not transparent, meaning they're not initially just giving you all this information. Hey, somebody called me, one of my exes called me yesterday. They're not going to come home and give you that information. You got to pull that out of them.
Yeah.
Well, whose number is this? And then they might go there. So it's like lack of transparency, being inconsistent, not showing a lot of effort. And also men are not emotionally available. Those are the complaints that women have about men.
Okay. And in your experience, are these valid complaints?
Oh,
or
yeah.
is this okay?
Absolutely. I think I meet a lot of men that are inconsistent. So I might make a match. I might make an introduction with a woman and a man, and they have a great first, second date, and then she's like, hey, he just stopped calling. He just fell off. And I reach out to him, oh, I just got busy. And in our minds, if he wanted to, he would, right? And in our minds, well, it must, I'm going to let him go because he must just not be that interested. That's how we interpret it. And he's like, well, no, that's not really the case. So why didn't she call me? And it's like, because again, we don't communicate. So we make a whole lot of assumptions. This didn't happen, so it must mean this. We don't ask questions, we assume. And we move on or whatever. But I think that, I don't know what makes them not continue to be consistent. And it's not always that they don't like you. It's not always that they're not putting in the effort because they don't like you. Some of them really just don't know. And sometimes if you communicate, hey, I do like flowers. When you pick me up for dates, can you bring me flowers? If you ask the questions and you communicate, you can get what you want. But just to assume, because this girl on social media has flowers every time she goes on a date, he should just know to bring you flowers. That's not realistic. With the men also, they are not emotionally available by and large. I mean, I think that there's healing that needs to be done around that space, but you're talking about men who were once little boys who were told not to show emotion, not to cry. Big boys don't cry. So they have suppressed their emotions. They have suppressed their emotions, and they're not vulnerable often with us about how they feel. And sometimes they're not ready they're just not ready for relationships. They out here playing the field because, again, social media makes you think you have all these options, and you really don't, sir. Because you just turned 40 and you're balding. You need to settle down. But, but they really think they have all these options and they got time that they don't have. So, yeah, those things are valid.
So speaking of social media, I feel like Charlamagne has really done a good job about promoting mental health.
It's good.
How important is mental health when you're thinking about entering into a relationship?
It's crucial. I think everybody needs to heal before they enter relationships. I just literally just did a video on this last night. When you have not done the work to heal, and you with a partner who has done the work, and by and large, and I'm not being biased, but women typically do the work. We typically, I'm going through a bad breakup. Let me call my therapist. Let me go to this conference. Let me check out these books. Let me heal. We take the time off. Like, I can't date right now. I need to work on myself. Men, not so much. They don't always do that. They don't always take that time to work on these things. And so when you get with one of them who hasn't done the work, they're going to bleed onto you because they still dealing with childhood trauma, issues from their last relationship, all this other stuff. They're bringing it to you, laying it at your feet. And because they don't communicate well, now they're arguing and they're popping off and they're crashing out. And you got, wait. And as women, we're nurturers, we're healers. So we're trying to work through this. Let me show you how I can love you. Let me show you what love looks like because you didn't get it at home. And we're trying to be this hospital. And we can't take that on because at the end of the day, we're going to end up depleted. We're going to end up drained. It's just not a healthy situation. So I think we need to start raising the bar and say, listen, if I've done the work to heal, you need to do the work to heal too.
Do you have a healing sort of assessment when people come to you?
Absolutely. Okay. So one of my therapists does a trauma assessment on my clients or on anybody, so that I know what kind of trauma you're dealing with, because that's important. And if you need, she does like a trauma intensive where you could just work on that thing if you need to work on it to get yourself together, and it's like quick healing. And I love that she offers this because I was able to heal my fear of dogs and fear of swimming in that one little like a 2-hour session. But anyway, people, we assess your trauma. And we also assess your pleasure in that same assessment. That's a whole nother conversation. But trauma, we have to assess that because people, and especially in our community where we're told just go to church, just pray about it. And that's, you can pray, but you also need to heal. There are professionals who are here to help us. That's their job. They're to help us heal through these things. And so it doesn't just need to be suppressed and prayed over. You also need to do some work.
Okay. So speaking of pleasure, what would you say men actually want from women? Assuming we're all healed, we're all ready to take that next step. What is on their, essentially, their Sierra list, their checklist? You
know what? And this is a complaint I hear from men all the time. Women, once they get in a relationship with them, they stop having sex. They get married, women stop having sex. And it's like odd. Because you don't want him out here in these streets.
Correct.
But you ain't doing what need to be done in the household. That's a common complaint that they have. Like, I want it.
Is it stop altogether or decrease?
Both. Some of them say, she just do it, once a week. Okay. Some of them say she might do it once a month. Some of them say it has been months and she ain't done it. It's been a year. Like, they're in sexless marriages. Now, some of this is men, right? Because if they're not taking care of themselves and they have high blood pressure and, coronary artery disease and diabetes, and now you on these pills and you can't get it up, that's a problem. But some of it is, I don't know what causes us to be like, I don't want to do it. I'm busy. Or they start having children. Maybe they get distracted and they're exhausted from work and the kids. And it's just like, look, I'm cleaning the house. And just no, get off me. But for whatever reason, that decreases. And so you have now increase in porn addictions and these men on OnlyFans and these men paying for sex. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. Yeah, that's a problem.
Okay. So going back to expectations, what, and this could be from your experience as a matchmaker or just a woman in general, what is a healthy expectation for frequency, especially if you're married with children, you're a full-time work?
I think that's a conversation between the two, right? Okay. But I would say at least twice a week. I mean, let's just 7 days. 2, come on. You can at least do 2 out of 7 days. I mean, I just think that's reasonable. Yeah. But you talking about weeks and weeks, that's not okay. You know what I mean? Because everybody's going out into the world getting tempted all day long, and you don't want that person to be tempted. And I'm not saying do it because you don't want them to cheat on you. I'm not saying do it out of a fear, but because you love this person, because you want to please them, because you want to satisfy them, right? That's where it should come from, more so than avoiding the temptation. But it's really like, I love you, I want to please you, I want to do this for you. And if we feel like we can't or we don't want to, go get help on that, because that's not okay. You're right.
And that's the sex therapist.
Go to a sex therapist. Go to your gynecologist. Go to whomever you need to go to, because this is not okay. You got to please your husband, and you got to please your wife at the end of the day.
So, do you have an idea of what some of the causes would be?
I do
for
not.
the decrease.
I do not. I mean, I know that hormonally, as women, we go through a lot of hormonal changes from the time we start our period to menopause. I mean, it's all kind of stuff happening. So I don't know if we're having like estrogen problems, hormonal problems. I don't know what's going on, or we might just be spread too thin. If you're doing the household, stuff in the home, you got your kid, you help them with homework, you're cleaning up, busy with work. I don't know if we just stretch too thin, and maybe because a lot of times the men are not stepping up at home, they're not cleaning, they're not helping with the homework, they're not putting the kids to bed. So essentially, you got a married single mom doing all the work, and she looking at you like you gonna have to pick up a broom or something. That'll turn me on.
That is the number one cause for divorce. I don't care what no one says. Literally, majority of my clients who work full time with children, they tell me they are tired. That is it.
That is interesting. And I think back to communication. And we have to learn to communicate without nagging. And we have to learn to communicate, you know what I mean, without hitting below the belt. Because that's something that we do, is we can hit you below the belt. But this is somebody you love. Do you want to talk to him? Yeah. You want to talk? We on the same team. So we're not going to talk to you like that. But listen, I'm stressed. This is what's on my plate. It would help me a lot if you could run the kids' bath water. It would help me a lot if after I cook, you fed the kids. Like, divvy it out so that everybody feels good. Now we can go to sleep, and now we can all have sexy time together. It's fun. It's gonna be fun because I'm not worn out.
Right.
So, I mean, we need to communicate more and be open to the feedback.
The uneven distribution of household care and child care is always an issue.
I believe that. And so if we're successful, maybe we hire a nanny. Maybe we say, okay, we're gonna get a housekeeper to do the household chores so that we could just focus on. Maybe I'm just helping with the homework, with somebody else cleaning and sweeping, and then I could do that, and then we can have sexy time. But talk about what you need to do to fix it, because you don't want it to end because of something like that.
Okay. So more sex.
Yes, more
Anything
sex.
else on their list?
I mean, you know what? A lot of people have desires that they have not tapped into. And so a lot of times when we do our pleasure assessment, I find that people are into BDSM. People, yes, it's a whole lot of things. They want to bring in toys, or they want to bring in a third person. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff that people are into today. And honestly, I think the trend is moving towards that. You're going to see more and more marriages that open up. They're going to be ethically non-monogamous. They're going to be various alternatives. Like, yes, we do a little BDSM. My husband's a dom, or I'm a dom. My husband's a sub. You're going to see a lot of this going on.
What's a dom and a sub?
So in BDSM, you have a dominant personality and you have a submissive. And it's not always that the man is the dom and the woman is the sub. Sometimes the woman is the dom and the man is the sub. And so that is a big
50 Shades of Grey.
Is that. Okay. And a lot of my top CEOs, my men with lots of money, with millions and millions, they're into that. That's what they're into. And a lot of them are subs. And you'd be surprised. Yes, they are subs. It's very interesting. A lot of them want to be dominated because they live in a world where they run everything. They call all the shots. And in this space, they would love a situation where they could be dominated. Like, they want you to, like, drain their bank accounts. Like, beat them. Like, you would be surprised. You would be so surprised. But it turns them on. And you know what? When they come to me, they're like, I can't tell women this because women will judge me. Black women especially. You know what I mean? We got to work on being judgmental because we want to be open and receptive so that your man could say, you know what? I would like it if you wore this lingerie. If you said this to me. We got to be open and receptive. we could be judgy sometimes.
I think we're judgy, but I think it stems from we're just so close-minded.
Yeah.
We just haven't been exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is. In church and
I was going to say,
tradition.
we're raised in a church. We're supposed to say no.
Baby, this your husband, though.
Right. Yeah.
So it ain't no. Because the Bible says the wedding bed is not undefiled. So bring it. Whatever he want to try, let's do it. You want to hang from the chandelier? Bring it. Because somebody out there will. The truth is,
this is Atlanta.
You can find whatever you want in this city right here.
You can.
You can find somebody that's willing to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, Flip, what is on our checklist?
For women, I think this whole soft life thing has been a big impact for women. A lot of women want to live that soft life, and I love the whole feminine resurgence of us tapping into our feminine energy. And because for a minute we were in our masculine so deep, I guess, having to go to school, starting a career, we were in our masculine. So I love this shift back to femininity and wanting to live this soft life. I actually think it's good for us mentally to operate.
I agree. Take this cape off.
Yes, baby.
Put on a robe.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, I love that. So that's something that women are getting into. I think one of the things that we have to balance, though, is we live in a modern world. So while you might like some of the traditional things, we're modern. So how do you, because a lot of times when we say we want a traditional man, that don't mean we willing to be traditional. So that's the inconsistency we have to work through. You're saying you want him to pay all the bills. Are you going to cook and clean?
I was going to ask you that. Yep.
Exactly. We don't want to do that part. We just want him to do this part. So it's like, let's just find a happy medium. If you could say, I want to do some pieces. I like some of these things from the old school, but understand we're in a modern world. So some things in this new world can work too. So we can have like a hybrid.
So going back to the conversation about financial expectations. So I don't know where I saw this, but there's this whole conversation around 50-50. And women saying, you know what, even though I may earn more, I still want you to pay 100% of the bills. Have you seen that in the soft girl era? Like, I'm going to work, but I still want you to pay
that's
for
part of it. They really do want to not have to pay bills, which I don't know if that is, first of all, it's not always realistic.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's always fair. Because as a divorce attorney, that when we get divorced, I'm probably going to be favored, So if I'm stacking all my money, you spending all yours, that's not fair. Come on.
Right.
That's not even right. If I got all this money over the years stacked and I haven't had to pay a dime, we get divorced, I'm coming out a winner. Yeah, that's not okay. So I think we have to look at what would be equitable for both people. And for me, finances is always a thing, because especially my clients, when you got a client that can afford to drop $20,000 on matchmaking, she wants a millionaire. That's how my clients are. They want millionaires, all of them.
And they dropping how much, Shae?
$20,000. And girl, they wire it immediately. They wire it immediately. It ain't no payment plans. It's just boom, here you go. And I love it.
You hiring?
Well, I don't know that we need anybody to specialize in divorce in matchmaking. But
we gonna get to it.
But you know what? But one of the things I have to explain to them is, you did a great job of success and climbing the ladder, but what's realistic? Do you really need him to be a millionaire? I mean, what if he was making $250, he can afford to take you wherever you want to go, and he can do all the things you want to do and save, So we have to come up with a happy medium, and we look at qualities over dollar amounts. We look at, another thing too, though, sometimes men they don't like me to use the word intimidated, but they can feel a way about dating a woman who's a high earner. Even if they say they're cool with it, it bothers them on some levels. And some of them, the issue is, I'm okay with it, but when my family comes over to this house, they know I didn't buy it. When my family comes over, they know this came from you. They know we're driving in this kind of car, our kids go to this kind of school, it didn't come from me. And so that's a whole nother thing they have to get over.
Gotcha. Okay. And so it was two things that I wanted to mention. But okay, for the $20,000 client, when she goes on a first date, do you have any tips for her?
I always tell everybody the first date is a vibe check. So you're not peppering them, you're not interrogating them with questions. You're just really like, can we kick it? Can we laugh? Do I like him? You know, what's the vibe? Because this is somebody you're going to be spending time with. You got to know that y'all are good, that y'all can spend extended amount of time together and not be bored. So that's really all you want to do on the first date. You want to look good. You want to show up. You want to be attentive, not be on your phone. You want to be engaging with the conversation. You want to laugh. And if you like them, I always say, find some time throughout the date where you can just slide a little touch, just a small little touch, just to let them know that you're interested. That's all you got to do on the first date to make the second date. All you're trying to do is say, do I like him and would I want a second date? That's really all you're trying to do.
What should we not do on the first date?
Talk about your exes. Number one, this is not a time to trauma dump on him about all the drama you went through with Tyrone, and he beat you and he cheated on you, and this is not the time for that.
Gotcha.
Also, you don't want to be asking. Sometimes we interrogate people on the first date and then they never hear from us again because you just drilled him. Like, oh my God, how much do you make? Do you live with your mama? How many babies you got? Like, we just drilling them on all these things and judging everything, right? And it's like, we all have things that might be desirable and some things that are undesirable, and give that person the same grace. And sometimes you're going to meet them and just know this is not going to be, I'm never going to see this person again, but you can still enjoy the first date and thank you so much for your time and know you're never going to see them again, but you ain't got to ruin it by being ugly and being, mean to the person.
Gotcha. Okay, so you mentioned not to talk about the trauma.
Yeah.
So for someone who is divorced, maybe it's been about a year, so we're healed, right? Do you have any advice for dating after divorce? Because at this point, especially if you have kids, there's some baggage there that
of course,
rightfully should be communicated at least early on.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't look at children as baggage, but I would say you want to communicate. Maybe if you have a co-parenting relationship with the parent, you have your kid every other weekend. That's something you might communicate. Well, I'm divorced. I have my child every other weekend, so I'm free every other weekend for dates. Like, that's something you want to communicate. But about sometimes people do ask on a date, why did you get divorced? I know some people,
that's too much.
For some people that is too much. If it was traumatic for them, they might not want to talk about it, or they might say, we just grew apart. That's usually a vague way. If you don't want to get into it, just say we grew apart. You know what I mean? But sometimes that is a question that could come up. I think it's important to heal before you date, because when people have to walk on eggshells for fear of triggering you, or if I say this and you're going to pop off, you're not healed yet. People should not have to be concerned with you popping off based off what they say. So if you are easily triggered, that's a sign that you need to get therapy before you start going on dates. Dating is fun. It should be fun. You're meeting all these people, all these potential suitors. It is so much fun. I say you should have a starting 5. If somebody's a recent divorcee, they should be building their starting 5. They should be dating, meeting people, and adding them to their 5. So like a basketball team, these are your starters, these starting 5. And now with your starting 5, somebody could easily get benched if they're not pulling their weight, if they're not shooting like they're supposed to shoot, put them on the bench. You can also pick somebody up from the bench, because you're going to always have people that are waiting to talk to you. Sometimes I'm like, look, my roster is full, I'm not able. And they'll be like, let me know when I can slide in. All right, I'll let you know. They really don't care, because men know how to date. We don't know how to date. What we do,
everyone's our husband.
Everybody. You meet somebody, oh, this the one. You writing his name down. Okay, Mrs. King. I could be Mrs. King. No, just slow down for a second. You need to get your starting 5, and you're just dating. Dating is collecting data. So it's not a relationship. It's not your boyfriend. You're not exclusive. You're collecting data from 5 people. That's all you're doing. I'm not saying you're sleeping with all 5 of them. I'm not saying I'm saying you're collecting data from 5 people at a time. It's just like, imagine you're interviewing for a job. You're hiring an assistant. Are you going to hire the first person that walked through the door, or are you going to see what's out here? First, you need qualifications for the job. Most of the time, we don't even know what are the qualifications. What are we looking for? Define that first, and then you can start interviewing. So these 5 people are people that you're interviewing for the position. You're considering these people, and again, at any time they could be benched. Somebody could be pulled from the bench. They could be rotated out. But you want to have those 5. The reason you want to have the 5 is because it's easy to compare and contrast when you have 5. So if somebody's inconsistent, they might get benched. But if you only had 1, you might make an excuse for his inconsistency.
True.
You might overlook the inconsistency. But if you have 5, the one that's doing the most, the one that's applying the pressure, he's going to rise to the top. And usually he's going to say, you know what, I want to be exclusive. I want you to get rid of everybody else. Well, if you had time to evaluate, your team, you
And
look at your
compare.
roster, and you can say, you know what, he really is the best. He has been the most consistent. We communicate the most. I like his dates. I like the way he plans and takes initiative. Now you can make a solid decision to hire him. But we be trying to hire folks after the first
Day one.
date. Yes, hey, how you doing? Hired. No, that's reeks of desperation. That reeks of not having values, not having boundaries. All of it is all red flags. You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay. Starting 5.
Starting 5. That's in my book too. I'm writing a book about this
Oh.
because I realize that women don't know how to date. We don't. Even I think white girls know how to date better than it's black girls who don't know how to date. White girls know how to date. They do group dates. They do like friend dates. White girls will go out. It's Kim, Todd, Kelly, and Jake. They're all 4 on a date. Kelly came with Todd, but she might realize I like Jake. They might switch up. No problem. We would never.
No offense.
We would never.
We'd be mad.
We would never. Just they might be like, you know what? I actually think me and Todd would be a better fit than me and Jake, and we would go, absolutely not. If you dated him, we friends. That's off limit. You know how we have all these different crazy rules that we have. You ain't never even slept with him. Why I can't date him? We have all these rules, but we don't know how to date, and it's detrimental to us. What I realize is because we don't know how to date, that goes into the relationship.
We're the
least likely. We have to be better daters if we want to change the statistics on how we get married, right? We have no choice. We're good in everything else. We're dominating everything else. We need to dominate this. So I'm really working on, creating a tool to help us date better. Be more strategic about it. Yeah, because we can win.
Let me know when the book is
Yes,
ready.
I'm working on it right now.
Yes.
I'm currently working on it. I will let you know.
Okay. So how involved are you with your clients? Is it, all right, we're in a relationship, we're exclusive, then you let go?
Yeah.
Like, how involved?
I let go once they are exclusive, and we
Okay.
check in. I might check in. Hey, girl, how's it going? So I have one girl. It's her year mark, and I'm waiting on her. I'm waiting. I thought he was going to propose over the holidays, so I'm like checking in, like, how y'all doing? Like, it's a year. Like, what's going on? So I do check in because I like to get invited to the weddings. I go to the weddings. I go to baby showers. I go to birthday parties. Like,
Nice.
it becomes like a part of the family. So
Yeah.
I do like to monitor their progress.
Okay. And so would you also, during your check-ins, if someone is saying, hey, we're at this year, but we've hit a stall, do you provide advice then or no?
I can. So I do,
Okay.
because I am a relationship coach. I specialize in dating, but I'm a relationship coach. So
Gotcha.
if they tell me that they hit a stall, I'm definitely, if you're my client, I'm definitely like, okay, what's going on? Let's get to the bottom of it. Also, one of the therapists on my team is also a relationship therapist. So I could always just tie them in if they need it more extensive outside of my purview. I can tie them into somebody else if they needed to go deeper. But yes, it's important because if I said we don't know how to date, then that means we don't know how to maintain relationships either. And if we haven't seen it and we don't have the tools, then that relationship is doomed from the start. So we have to do the things to make sure that we maintain a relationship. And often that's communication. It's sex. Usually when somebody tell me they're at odds with their partner and I say, when's the last time y'all had sex? That's ding, ding, ding. Go do that and call me back. Call me back. Because of course you're going to have problems. If y'all both tense and horny, you're going to have some problems. You mad at everything. Why is the toilet seat up? And why is the shoe on the floor? And why you mad at everything? But really, you just need to release. That's simple. That's usually what I tell them. And then they call me like, yeah, you're right. We good. Okay, next.
Well, at what point does the toilet seat really need to be put down and the shoes picked up?
I mean, if it's a real issue, get a housekeeper. Let them do. If it's a real issue and y'all are both busy, and this is really, because some people really are neat freaks, and they're like, this is a big problem for me, and he just might not care. I'm not doing this because I don't like you, I don't love you, I don't believe you when you say this bothers you, but I'm getting dressed and I forgot to put my shoes back. And if it really bothers you, just get somebody to come do it. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we're a team, and I'd rather do that than for us to be going at it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember that line in one episode of Insecure season 2 when their therapist was like, do you want to be right or do you want to be married?
That's right. And that's what we need to do. We need to fight fair because sometimes we don't. And we'll make a little issue can become a big issue real quick. And it's like, was it really that big of a deal? Or you just let it grow? Yeah, so I think we need to work on maintaining a relationship.
Yeah. So, top 3 pieces of advice to maintain a relationship. Either single or not single, but relationship or marriage as well.
Yeah, well, we just kind of talked about it, keeping the lines of communication open. And I think we should both be a safe space for each other. There's nothing that your husband or wife needs to say they can't come to you and say. And often, we're not a safe space. And it's like, I can't tell him that, or I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. She won't hear this well. But they should be able to hear. You should be a safe space, and you should be able to communicate. So understanding each other's love languages. Because just because you like gifts, his love language might be affirmation. And often women don't affirm their men the way they need to. We don't compliment them. We don't thank them for the things, the little gestures, small gestures that they might do that, he picked up the laundry for you. Thank you, baby, for picking up the laundry. That's one less thing I have to do. Like, just things like that to encourage that kind of behavior. But continue to date each other. Like, even though you good and married, don't forget to date. This is somebody that you love and you want to spend the rest of your time with. It is never too much. It's never too much loving on them, showing affection back and forth to her too. Like, it's never too much. And so I think we should do more of that. Do more of that. What's not to love? More love is never a problem.
Right.
So I think we should do more of that.
The love languages is good.
Yeah.
Because me and my husband sometimes, like, we'll get into an argument and we're communicating just fine, but he has to tell me in a language that I understand, and I have to talk to him in a language that he understands.
Yep.
So
it matters.
It does.
It matters. And also, I think when I keep saying we plan on the same team, it's because sometimes we do forget that.
Yeah.
That we're on the same team, and we have the end goal of this family at the end of the day. That's what we trying to keep this family intact. So is this a big deal? To your point, do I want to be right? Do I want to stay married? And some of these things you can just let go. It's not a big deal.
Okay. So, Shae, majority of my clients are women going through a divorce. If they wanted to get remarried at some point, what advice could you give to them?
I would tell them to first, take some time out for themselves to heal. Because when we come out of a relationship, we don't often know who we are anymore. This person has drained us, especially if they went through a divorce. You look in the mirror, you don't even recognize yourself. And in relationships and marriage, you compromise so much. You might really like tacos, but because he don't like tacos, you always at steakhouses, but you really don't like steakhouses. So now you get to go to all the taco spots that you want to go to.
And
so
rediscover.
You rediscover. Yeah. Go and see what you like. And what do you like to wear? Because there's a difference between dressing when you're married and dressing when you're single.
That is true.
So you might not have any clothes to catch. I call it catch clothes. You might not have any clothes to catch. You got to get rid of all these clothes that cover you up, so you can
dresses.
yes, so you can go meet somebody. And you want to get out there and also go to therapy. Go do that. Go to therapy. Take some time to heal from whatever you went through. Create boundaries. Like, in this next relationship, this is a deal breaker for me. I will not accept this, this, and this. Whatever the thing is that broke you, make a plan not to do that again. Because if you don't have a plan not to do it again, you're going to do it again. And you'll be right back in the same situation. So I would say take that time and learn to date. So before you get in a relationship, before you call me, I don't even take people who are like, I just signed the ink yesterday, I'm ready. No.
Yeah.
No, you're not ready. You're not ready. You don't know who you are, and you don't know what you want. Because all you know is you don't want him. You don't want this person you just divorced, but what do you want? You haven't defined that. And dating gives you that. So when you're going on dates, you're like, oh, I like the way he made reservations. Oh, I like the way he opened my door. I like the way he brought me flowers. I like the way he calls me every morning. So you start to see things that you like. And then you can say, you know what? This is something I need. I actually absolutely have to have this in the relationship. And as you date, you learn more about yourself too. So because people are mirrors to you, you see how you react when I have a dominant man. I love that because I can kind of take a back seat, turn my brain off. I really like that. So now you know you like dominant men. But you don't know when you first get divorced, you don't know what you like. Because who you were when you got married to this person, you probably been married 10, 15 years. You're not the same person today. You're a whole different person with whole different values and wants and needs and desires. And you have to discover that. So I think that's what I would say. Get healing, start dating, learn who you are, explore yourself, explore what do you want to wear, what do you want to eat, what kinds of things you like to do, because there is nothing more boring than getting with somebody who doesn't have a hobby, doesn't have an interest, they want to make you their whole life, and their all their free time is spent with you.
It's creepy.
No, get a life, get something that you enjoy, find a hobby. start knitting, drawing something, do something else. So figure out what is that you like to do. And you know what? You can find a mate usually in those things. So some women take up pickleball, or they might, take up rock climbing, whatever it is. And you might find somebody while you're doing that thing, and they like the thing too. And now y'all can do those things
You
together.
already have a shared interest.
Exactly. But you have to create that interest. What is your interest? What are you going to be into? What do you want to explore? So that's what I would say.
Shae, this was so good.
Oh, good.
Oh my gosh. So for people who want to work with you, how can they find you?
You can find me at upperechelonmatchmaking.com, and you can also follow me on Instagram at Shae Primus Matchmaker.
Okay. Well, thank you again,
Thank
Shae.
you. This was fun.
I have a gift for you.
You do?
Yes, one of the candles. Can you bring it to me?
Thank you.
So this is one of our signature candles.
It's reaching because it was right here.
This is yours. This one is actually called Grounds for Divorce.
Oh.
It is a coffee scented candle.
Grounds.
You
Okay.
get it?
Yes.
And it smells like coffee, but it's a mood booster
I
as
love
well.
this. And I can smell the mint as well.
Oh,
yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And congratulations
Thank you.
on your candle line.
Thank you.
Much success and prosperity with these.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Good.
Awesome.
Okay, let me see. Is this the right one?
Child.
Was it good? Because I feel like I could talk to you forever, Candace. I was just talking.
Yeah, I was trying not to like. Okay,
You
it
got me
is.
together. Listen, you got me together. I was like, I need to have 5. Okay, Lord. I can barely maintain one, but you read me my rights in good and bad.
Good and bad. I'm good.
Oh, is she gonna come and be like that? And
No.
then I was like, okay, thank you for that. Yeah.
Because we get locked in on one person so
we do.
quickly.
She
And
ought to be yelling at me, so yeah.
and you know what, they do it too. They don't call it anything. It's just dating. That's what it is.
But you were right. They know how to date.
They
and
do.
We don't.
We
I have no
don't.
idea how to date.
We don't.
I know how to fall in love.
That's what we love. We
That-
love
that's
falling in
the
love.
feel-good
And all the
stuff.
movies and
I feel like-
everything caters to us falling in love because that's what we
Yeah.
like. But you
So-
got to learn how to date.
We've always been told that dating multiple men was kind of like whorish. And so I feel like that's why we don't do it.
And that's what I associated it with.
That's what
That
I
if was
associated
dating
with, too.
multiple men at one time, because I ain't having sex with nobody that ain't putting no ring on it. But
Mhm.
even still, in my mind, it's like if I'm dating multiple men, then I look to the outside world.
But we are
I'm
grown,
very
so who
niche.
cares what these people think?
Right.
You
Right.
one. Who cares?
Right.
Even if you are having sex with all of them, who cares?
Right.
I did,
You're
but I
absolutely
can't
right.
find
We
it.
grown.
But that's the mindset.
Yeah.
That's the mindset that keeps us. So thank you, honey.
Yes.
You set me free on some things.
Amen.
Good. Yay.
Miss Shae, I got one question.
Yes,
if you don't
ma'am.
mind.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
How do you know when you're being OCD or annoying
I'm sorry.
versus it just being a man being a man? So, for example, when they don't
What happened?
Closed.
Yeah, they done closed.
for tomorrow.
Yes.
So, like for
Is it
example,
snowing?
They supposed to.
Okay.
When it's like, okay, they stop communicating, so it's like, well, maybe they wanted you to reach out, but it's like, if that's not in your nature, like, at what point do we, like, I pull back from just being me and then stand on business? Does that make sense?
How long has it been since they communicate? Like, it's a lot of factors involved before I can answer.
Oh, okay, so you're dating a guy and like they started off being communicative, but then they stopped being consistent. So maybe we on day 2.
Day 2, and they haven't communicated.
They haven't said anything.
So I would just check in, like, hey, I haven't heard from you. Are you still interested? Let me know. You know, and if you're not, I understand. But you want to check in, because what we typically do is we just make an assumption. Oh, he just don't want me. So, or you know, whatever, and it's like, well, maybe he got something going on. Are you okay? You know, you check in and say, hey, are you okay? I'm just checking on you. I haven't heard from you in a couple of days.
The crazy in me is you need to communicate what's going on, and that's not okay.
Yeah,
it's not okay.
I'm like, you a man. You're
supposed to say something.
Me.
See,
like,
all these things that we do with supposed to, and all these, we do a lot of things that's like pushing a thought on somebody, imposing a thought on them, and it's not fair.
Understood.
That's
I don't know why we do it, but we do it.
Because
well, I know why I do it.
Why
because with my ex-husband, I was the one pursuing him, and
in the marriage,
in the beginning, and I feel like in the marriage, like what I was more masculine energy, and what turned out to be he was more feminine energy, and I ended up in a marriage where I felt like I had to do everything. If I didn't do it, it wasn't going to get done. And so in my mind now, it's like, no.
You're not
going
doing
to
that.
Who's going to take initiative? Who's going to be consistent? Who's going to
Yes.
Oh, this is fun.
And I need to be on the other end.
Oh,
So it's like that for me, where I'm just like
okay.
trying to avoid what I had before. But I think it may be too much.
But have you gone to therapy on what happened?
Yeah.
Okay, so you feel like you're healed from that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's a question you can find out in the vetting process.
Yes, and that's what I need to do.
Yeah.
I need a solid, not only vetting process, but just this idea, like you said, the starting 5. Being able to talk to multiple people at one time. So I can kind of see, I like this, that this person is doing this, but I don't like that. I like that.
We have to compare and contrast.
I think that's what I'm missing.
Yes.
Because I'm a one person at a time. I can't hardly message 2 people at the same time on the dating app. Like I got to see what's gonna happen with this person before I.
That's what we like to do.
Move into the next person.
That's what we like to do. But I think ideally, if you could set it up where you let me tell you something. You can automate a good morning text if you needed to on your phone.
Yeah,
so you can automate. You can schedule it, whatever you need to do. Good morning, handsome. Whatever you need to do to communicate with all 5 of them. Do it though, because honestly, you can compare and contrast when you have more than one that you're dealing with. Because if you just have one, you're going to make excuses for him and overlook stuff because you really like him. And you're missing red flags that you could have seen if you had more than one.
Yeah. Well, you know the other problem, like, how
I'm
do I
sorry.
meet people?
Shay, could
Like,
we
they
get a
just-
thumbnail?
Because I'm wary about online dating. It's annoying.
But my good friend just put me on Facebook dating. And it's
You can stay as long as you want.
Oh, yeah. I need to.
Okay, I gotta go. 'Cause I got.
Nice to meet you,
Okay,
Kia.
nice to meet you.
Girl, we
Yes.
friends.
Yes, big friends.
Thank you, Candace.
You're welcome. Thank you, Kiosha.
Did that turn out all right, Andrew?
It did. It was
Okay.
great. It was
All right.
great.
Oh, am I?
No, you're not.
Okay.
I'm not shining either, right?
You are
Y'all
next.
lean in
This
like
is my
y'all
makeup
know
from
each other
yesterday,
now.
so I'm trying to make sure it still look good.
And then ready. 3.
So we can do a picture or a.
It's gonna record, but I'm
Boomerang.
gonna pull a screen grab from it. So
Okay.
y'all, I'm gonna need y'all to smile first. Look at me. Both of y'all look great. Excellent. All right, y'all can do the peace sign like you did before. Your little boomerang. Matter of fact, you can make that your thing. Is that you always do a boomerang? So we'll do that. Awesome. Everything's good. We're awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Shay.
No, this was fun. Thank you for the invite.
Of course.
Shay, let me get you a voucher.
Where does this go? The podcast
Put it on YouTube fan base and then
on fan base. Cool.
Are you on fan base?
I just joined.